Welcome, one and all, to another edition of the Defo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, brought to you by Water Cleanup of Florida. The rains have come. And yeah, it's hot. It's such a fun mixture this time of year. It's not only hot and humid, then it rains like a deluge, and it's like a friggin' hurricane almost every day, which is not the greatest thing for your home or office. But no worries, because we all know of Water Cleanup of Florida. Just give them a call, 954-579-0356, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, 7 days a week. They're there for you with any water or fire damage. They were there for my wife and I at our townhouse. They were fantastic. And again, like I talk about each and every day, each and every time, they're licensed, certified, insured contractors. Allow not only for them to fix whatever issues you have, but allows those issues to look like they never existed. It makes that area that was a problem look brand new. 954-579-0356. Check them out on their website, WCUFL.com, and on the socials at Water Cleanup FL. Water Cleanup of Florida. I'm telling you, if you have the schmutz or any schmutz, they have the guts of all the guts. Alrighty, we know our Heat have been through some schmutzy times and have had some guts. We know about our Marlins and our Panthers and our Dolphins. Soccer is something that's sort of new to the South Florida area, as in a professional franchise. Yeah, the Miami Fusion existed for a little bit. That flamed. They've tried to bring a star, a European, a South American star in Carlos Valderrama, and he was at the end of his career, and that flamed out, and that team flamed out and became a defunct franchise. Well, Inter Miami CF has David Beckham behind him, has Jorge Mas, a very wealthy Miamian, behind them. And they, as we all know, have now gotten Lionel Messi, the greatest. He may not be the official greatest player in the world right now, but he is a World Cup champion. He has been, by many, considered, to this day, still a top 3 player in the world. Most of his career was the best player in the world, and one of, if not the greatest player in football, soccer history. He now resides in South Florida, and we talk with Dave Hyde about Messi being down here, as Dave Hyde took in his first practice today with Inter Miami CF. And of course, the topic all of us are concerned about down here, or paying attention to, curious about down here, Dame Watch. What's going on with Damian Lillard? Dave Hyde, obviously one of the heralded sports columnists and across the country, he knows the Heat organization well. He's worked done a lot of stuff involving the Heat, written about the Heat for years, so he has a keen eye for the Miami Heat. So we talked about the Damian Lillard saga situation as well with the one and only Dave Hyde here today on the Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
It's always a pleasure to welcome this gentleman, and he's actually on the road on assignment right now. So we are very, very thrilled to welcome the hardest working man here in local sports journalism, and a guy whose longevity speaks for itself as the preeminent columnist here in South Florida, and maybe, I mean, unfortunately, with what? The newspaper sports sections folding right and left, maybe the best in the country right now. Dave Hyde joins us here on the program from the Sun Sentinel. David, how are you, my friend?
Well, that might have been the most backhanded complimentary introduction ever.
I didn't mean it in that way, but it's...
I might be the best in the country because everybody else is...
Everybody's folding.
Or gone.
LA Times finished. New York Times finished. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we're dwindling. The giants of you go to a sporting event now, and a lot of my friends aren't there. But I am coming here live from Messi first practice. You can hear the helicopter hovering overhead, perhaps, and I'm standing here sweating to watch 15 minutes of Inter Miami practice.
All right. Well, how would you characterize this? I'm thinking this would be like, Shohei Ohtani opting for free agency at the end of the season and then signing with like Mike Veck's Independent League club. I mean, is it at that level? I mean, what is Messi doing in the MLS if he still has it?
I think the comparison would be if Tom Brady, when he left New England, went back to college and played
the XFL. Not even prestigious
it's about
enough.
The same age. Yeah, I mean, Messi's 36,
Yeah.
So he's not Ohtani at the height of his. At the same time, he just did win the World Cup a few months back for Argentina, right. And he played in the Champions League and PSG, and so he's elite soccer at his best, and he remained one of the best players in the world. And so it is a little strange, and it'd be interesting to ask him that question, but he not talking today, and I don't know if he's going to talk before his first match. So we'll see how it's scheduled this week.
What do you foresee happening with this? I mean, we're speculating. Obviously, it can go in a lot of directions. Is he so clearly superior to the rest of the talent in the MLS that he scores 3 goals a game? Would it be unrealistic to think that he was going to be such a superior add to this team that's been horrible and floundering at the bottom of the league with a seeming ineptitude on many, many different levels, and yet can he come and salvage their season? What do you see working out?
Well, they haven't won in 11 games, or like you said, at the bottom. He will be dominant. I mean, again, it's like Tom Brady after winning 6 Super Bowls going back to college.
Yeah,
playing that game. MLS, I saw a ranking of soccer leagues for talent around the world, and MLS ranked 20th.
Oh, geez, it's not even in the top 15?
Wow, is the Mexican League ahead of them? Because Tijuana never wins a game there. Every time I see the crawl, they're getting hammered. It's amazing.
I'll have to go back and look at the list to see where Tijuana League ranks. But the idea being, look, you're getting one of the elite players in the world coming to a league and a team that he should just run around. How that translates on the field, how many goals or wins, it'll be interesting to see. How much can one player now? He did. Sergio Busquets comes with him too, so that there's 2 great players, 2 elite players. And I heard Jordi Alba. Yes. I don't know if he's where he stands right now, but
no, it's happening.
It'll be, there'll be a LeBron effect here, where there's a little magnetic pull of other players coming in. The question becomes this year, what can they do? They're far out of the playoff picture. It's mid-season. Can they? Is it the playoffs even a possibility?
All right, this Messi mania is out of control. It seems like. But I mean, as you look at it, is it justified? I mean, that this one guy is going to come in and be such a strong influence on the Major League Soccer people and fans around the country that it really is going to catapult this league out of the stature where it's like at the basement there at number 20 and bring some realistic level of luster to the play in this league.
Well, there's a fascination to him. I mean, there's a fascination to not just playing, how he will raise the level of interest. Let's put it this way. I'm at an Inter Miami practice along with the
Could you have ever envisioned that, Dave? I mean, on July 18th, you'd be at a Inter Miami CF practice at like 8 in the fucking morning. I mean, could you ever have envisioned it?
I've never done it, and I never envisioned it.
Yeah.
And yet I'm one of maybe 100.
Oh, wow.
Eyeball media people out here.
So watch this guy go through like a walkthrough kind of drill.
15 minutes of exercises, and nobody talks after practice. So that's what it's all about. You'll get a lot of B-roll video for the news shows, and that's it. So it's when you say how can he impact? Well, look here, look what he's already done.
Exactly. Yeah.
So then he's got Apple TV. This is live on Apple TV, evidently. This
practice session.
Then again, Apple TV paid a lot of $2.5 billion over 10 years, I believe, and they're going to get their money's worth out of this. So, you can see the impact already. In other words, and now my larger question, I'm thinking right my column on it. What are the expectations for Messi? What makes it a success?
Yep.
And is it winning? I mean, that would be the starting point, right? You
Yeah.
think he would have to win, because if he's on and not this year again, because they're so far down in the standings, but certainly his impact should change that. The angle of the team and the franchise, and by next year it will be about, because if he's on a 500 team, and everybody's going to be scratching their head about. But I don't foresee that. So the question becomes, beyond winning, what does he have to do for this to be a success?
You cover everything here in South Florida, Dave, and I'm wondering, when was the last time you were at Lockhart Stadium? Well, when the Yankees played a spring training game there? I mean, think about that for a second.
I think actually when the Fusion were in a playoff game, and I remember talking to Ray Hudson, who was the coach at the time. No, actually, I have been.
That's worth doing anytime, though.
Yeah, that is. You're right. I have been to an Inter Miami game, but one in 4 years. So again, when's the last time South Florida had somebody like this come into town? And we're full of people who've come through town. And the closest you can come to it, and it trumps Messi, was when LeBron came.
Yes.
Because, LeBron was really not just a transcendental moment in the NBA, because it changed how free agents moved, but it also was about championships and winning, and that was all it was about. The pressure to win was huge, and it was a circus atmosphere around those teams. Whereas, nobody really talks about, Messi's here for a champion. What does an MLS championship mean in the greater scope of his career?
Well, when do they play it? I don't even know when the season is. Seems to never end. It's like year-round, the MLS season.
Jets flying overhead now. No, that's the executive airport here.
Oh yeah, are they gonna parachute him in?
Yankee spring training game, jets flying overhead. But this helicopter is hovering. I will say this helicopter is hovering. I'm curious which news station has it.
It's got to be Brian Andrews from Channel 7. No, is he back with Channel 7? Because he would be the guy to be hovering over the stadium there, or Rick Sanchez maybe to add some drama to it. He's hanging from a helicopter ladder as he hovers over Messi as he bounces a couple of balls off his head.
Since tracking Peyton Manning when he was driving down, I think they've been hovering for a while. It's a wild scene out here.
Okay, so talking about wild scenes, the last couple of weeks before between the Messi first rumors, then now being finalized, has been Dame Watch. I know you're not NBA insider, Heat insider guy. We leave that to Ethan Skolnick and Ira Winderman. But you do know this market, you do know that team, and you do know the sport. What are your thoughts on the whole thing between Joe Cronin, the Miami Heat, and Damian Lillard as it stands today?
The Heat have won the trade. I mean, it just has to be announced. He's coming here, barring a surprise of seismic proportions. He said he wants to come here. You look around the NBA, look at from Kevin Durant to Kyrie Irving, James Harden. Whenever a player of that magnitude picks a team anymore, other teams don't want to get involved, because why would you want to take on a guy who is owed, what's he owed, $120 million in the final 2 years of his contract, why would you want to take on a guy like that who doesn't want to be there? It'd be a PR nightmare and potential roster shaking trouble and all that. So, Joe Cronin of Portland, I guess he's doing his due diligence and waiting and hoping Lillard either changes his mind or some other team steps forward with something, or he's just trying to make himself look a little better. He blew it a year ago. If you were going to trade Lillard, if they had a decision to make, and Lillard signed that massive supermax contract with Portland with the idea, and they said in the press conference he was convinced to sign it because they said they're going to build a contending team around him. Well, they didn't make the playoffs last year. Then they drafted a a guard to replace him this year with the number 3 pick. So everything they've done is go say we're in a massive rebuild. And why they didn't trade Lillard last year when they could get more is really the mistake Cronin made. And now Lillard says, I'm going to take a little control over my future, and he's earned that. He's earned that right. 7-time All-Star. He was Portland's Dwayne Wade and Dan Marino. He's that face of the franchise. And so it'll be interesting to see how Portland, when they decide to make the deal, because I'm sure the Heat put a few pots before them and said, you can have any of these options. And I'm sure another team is involved, but I just see it ending one way. The question is, when does it end?
I think the Heat are going to have to throw in Andy Ellisberg.
I think he's untouchable. Anyone's untouchable.
Cronin figure out what to do with the money. All right, Damian Lillard, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, all standout players. You lose Gabe Vincent and Strus, a couple of guys that were part of those unsung hero types that made the Heat interesting last year and made them very competitive going to the NBA Finals. But where does that leave them in terms of big 3 configurations? I mean, it seems pretty significant to me, and you still have the possibility of having a few of your other components that were successful for you when Caleb Martin and maybe Duncan Robinson resurrects his stature as he kind of did in the playoffs. Where does that lead the Heat if they indeed complete this transaction for Damian Lillard?
I think it puts them with Boston, and Milwaukee is the 3 top teams in the East. And what do they lack in playing Denver in the NBA Finals was scoring, and that's what Lillard brings. He averaged 32 points a game last year. He scored 71 in one game. So looking in the regular season, when Jimmy Butler takes a night off, you got Lillard says, I'll be the guy. Or when Lillard takes a night off, you got Jimmy Butler hasn't been asked to be the guy every night. So, and throw in Bam and what he showed certainly in the playoffs, and there's your remake of the big 3, but they'll be right there in the East with Boston and Milwaukee. It'll come down to health. It'll come down to the final 10th of a second rebound shot and all that stuff again. But the Heat will then have a window to win it all, which I love. I love the Heat that every year they go through the footwork in the off season and say, we're going to build a championship team. We're planning to win. And they do their best every year to do that. And they don't throw away seasons like every other team in town does in trying to rebuild.
All right, one last thing. I know you're out there schwitzing, and I don't know when Messi's going to actually hit the field. Is that like hours away? Did you have to get there like 3 hours?
No, we're getting activity right now. 8:45 is supposedly when things
are
okay.
Just one quick pop here, if you can, just to characterize where we're at with Jorge Mas. I mean, would we have been better off if he had bought the Marlins than Bruce Sherman?
Oh, he said yes before you finish.
Wait. Let's back up. Better off than Derek Jeter being foisted upon.
Oh yeah, that was at that time.
Right.
Yeah, too.
I mean, Jeter might have been the worst GM in my time here.
Wow,
which that's saying something too. Considering the
I mean, David Sampson was in that capacity.
They came in. They were going to rebuild through the draft. They traded players and all this, but they're going to put this massive minor league system in and show how it's done. A great organization. They got one player from their draft, from the 5 years of drafts, say 4 because of the last year, you give them some breaks still. They got one player on the top 40 roster. I mean, it's crazy.
Wow.
Jeter,
that is amazing.
Jeter was awful. And people acted like the Marlins or Bruce Sherman shot Bambi when he left town. How could they get rid of Derek Jeter? Oh, my God. Well, you got rid of him. Not only was he awful, but he spent and wasted a lot of money. So,
and he really wasn't the ambassador of goodwill that you thought he was going to be for the team. That even if they were going to be lousy for a while, that you had the trust that, oh, wow, we have Derek Jeter, and he represents everything that we've ever known about
Why?
winning.
To me, and I wrote it at the time, it's like if Dan Marino was named GM of the Kansas City Chiefs. Who cares? I mean, who in Kansas City is supposed to care about that?
Yeah.
Did anybody care? I didn't care. I know you Yankee fans. Oh, my God, we got Derek Jeter. Okay, is he going to play shortstop?
And revert back to his prime. Yeah, that would have been much more beneficial, no doubt about it. All right, well, enjoy this. I don't know how you approach this, and it's interesting because here's Messi, who, every time I pop on Facebook or any social media, he's got his arm around some restaurant owner. Nobody's bothering him. He's at Publix shopping. Nobody's bothering him. You would think that, he'd go ahead and get in front of the microphones there and utter a couple of, kind words in Spanish, no?
I would... We have no sweat tech. We have no luck at that. So we move on.
All right.
It's like a silent figure. So we'll see. But
all right.
Yeah, the helicopter's still hovering, and so are the media. We're all sweating. And live.
Is Barry there? Barry Jackson? I mean, I would imagine he'll be all over this. No.
Probably. I got to admit, I haven't.
Yeah, he's probably in the bushes there, wherever it is. That no, he's a good guy, man.
All right.
Dave, we love you, man. Thanks so much for doing this. I mean, we rarely get anybody at a live, big event in town. Fantastic.
This is what we do. I'm everywhere. So
very good. Wow.
Thanks. Always a lot of fun talking to Dave Hyde. We talked a lot about Messi. Yes. Your guy Austin Robillard here with 5 Reasons does a great job. They're doing a lot. They have a whole slew of things with Messi. He is the probably most famous athlete in the world. LeBron's up there. Cristiano Ronaldo's up there. But Messi, unlike Ronaldo, who's sort of at the end of his career, Messi may not be in his prime, but he still is one of the top 3 to 5 players in the world. They not only won the World Cup, but he was the best player in the World Cup, quote unquote. Yeah, look, other guys played really well, and a lot of his goals were on PKs, but he made them almost every time. And in his mid-30s, he still is arguably the best player in the world. If you want to say there's others better, fine. Mbappe's better. Some others are better. Fine. He's considered by many top 3, worst top 5 in the world. He's now here in South Florida. It's going to be interesting. We talk with Dave about that. And Damian Lillard, like the rest of us, Dave feels Lillard will end up in Miami. Joe Cronin's trying to save face, trying to get the best deal possible. My thing is he's just wasting time. Like, in the end, I think the deal's going to be about what it is. And Damian is going to end up down here. So all Cronin's doing is wasting time. Like, the longer this goes, it doesn't hurt the Heat. The Heat were in the finals, and the Heat will be fine either way. It hurts the Blazers because why not go get those assets now, even if they're draft picks, because this is done. Once the Blazers get rid of Lillard, he's not a part of the franchise anymore. They can move on to the rebuild. The longer this lingers, the longer the Blazers have to answer questions about Lillard, and eventually it becomes annoying. So we'll see. I presume it's going to happen sooner than later. So does Dave Hyde. So does our guy, Ethan Skolnick, here with 5 Reasons. We will talk much more about that. We'll talk more about football as it's only about 2 weeks away. The preseason of the NFL season, and college football soon starts after that. Marlins sort of struggling lately out of the All-Star break, but they're still in the wild card hunt. So we'll talk more about them as well, and so much more. Check us out each and every morning. The Defo Show with Lubie, 7 to 9 on South Florida Live. Check us out when we do one. We haven't done one in a little bit, but we do our national podcast, the Believe Network, BLEAV.com. Search After Hours. Got a slew of stuff there. Got a lot of really fun conversations in and outside of the world of sports nationally. So check that out again, the Believe Network, BLEAV.com. Search After Hours. And check us here with our South Florida content, the Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup, All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?